Wait. Rewind the tape.
Welcome back. To you, Ruth,
Hey.
to you, listeners, to me. It is season 3 of your favorite podcast, Wait, Rewind the Tape, with me, Natalie.
And me, Ruth.
What that was. That was unrehearsed, guys.
Really?
You didn't know. Yeah, like I said, we are back with a new season. I'm just gonna go straight in and tell you that we've actually done the homework. We've planned out what we're gonna watch, what we're gonna talk about. Will it go to plan? Probably not. But you know, the point is we've done some of the legwork. And there's a very definite theme emerging this season.
This isn't season 3. This is just the end of season 2, right?
What?
Isn't season 3 next year?
Correct. Sorry, I just always assume that the season begins around the time when we actually started the whole podcast, which was around this time in 2020.
Yeah, that would make sense, but we didn't do that.
Three guys. You know what? It doesn't matter. Okay, the tale coming. Let me change this up. Let me say coming hot off the heels of last mid-seasons mini-series within a series, The Avengers.
I forgot we did that.
Same, because apparently I can't get my words out. We're moving through further into the realms of fantasy. Not superheroes. We're kind of done with that. We're going into fantasy, magic, elves, dragons, all of that stuff. So for the next, I don't know, 12, 13 weeks?
Roughly.
12 to 13 weeks. You are going to hear all of our thoughts on all things old and new. Okay, some things old and new within the fantasy sphere, and there's a lot that's come out recently, so I'm excited. Yeah, but this week we're not going to talk about anything too fantasy related. We're going to talk about P-Valley season 2, and we'll get on to why that's a fantasy show that we're kicking off this second half of the season. But before we do that, we've been away for the summer. How was your summer, Ruth? What'd you do? As if we didn't talk a lot.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't know, surprisingly.
Well, we didn't for a while because of the phone situation.
Right.
But yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday. I accidentally had like an amazing summer that was not scheduled at all.
That's so good. I'm so pleased for you.
Yeah, it started obviously with tragedy. So my grandma passed, which was sad. And then, so for the last 4 weeks, I've been in Nigeria, went for the funeral. I just wanted to stay because, you know me, if I'm going, I'm staying for a month. So
you need to get your money's worth with the flight.
Honestly, did I pay for my flight? No, but that's not the point. What was I going to say? I got back this morning, so I'm a bit tired. But to be honest, I don't think you'll notice a dip in performance, listeners. Because it's never strong, let's be honest.
Have we come back rested, recharged, ready for an amazing season? No.
Ruined.
We're going to complain all the way. I have a sore throat. So.
How was your summer?
My summer was fine. I feel like it's been at the beginning of summer, I finished a contract, and I can't remember whether we touched on this, but I'd always said that I wanted to take this summer off. And I look back on my time and think, what did I do? Should I have just worked? No, I shouldn't have worked, but it's more, and I know I did stuff, but I think I'm being hard on myself because I'm not one of those people that's like, travel, do this, do that, do this. And
I feel like taking time off, like for you, because you work so much and so often, when you take time off, you actually just need to rest. It would be I'm not saying it would be like you wouldn't be able to do it. I know some people would just keep pushing. But at a certain point, you wouldn't enjoy it if you were go when you've been working so much. You know what I mean?
For me, really, the blocker to doing a lot of things is the cost of dog care.
I was going to ask off air, sorry, listeners, can you travel with your pets?
It's significantly harder because of Brexit.
What happened? Because, not me not knowing. What happened?
So prior to Brexit, you just needed an EU pet passport and then you could take the dog into the country. So that's my sister and my brother-in-law would often take their dog to Germany. Like every summer they would go. And Peaches would spend the summer in Germany and have a great old time. But now the rules have changed. And if you want to go into the EU, then it's essentially treated as an international country. So you have to go through the same process. So all the same things that I would have had to do to bring Mango into the UK from India, I would have to do to go to Europe.
Is that a lot of paperwork?
It's tests. It's
the fees.
Yeah, the fees. It's crazy.
So basically, you have to travel within the UK if you want to travel with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's no fun because the UK is expensive. So traveling everywhere in the world is expensive. Let's be clear. That is just how it is at the moment. Inflation is insane, absolutely insane. But the UK could at least make domestic travel more affordable if we can't afford to leave. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like don't just trap me in hell. Like, at least let me get to the seaside, and have like cheap. I don't know. There's nothing really.
There's no incentive to stay.
No, I wouldn't say it's more expensive in terms of spending money because you probably save money if you stay in the UK. But
they said there's no incentive, not expense, but.
Oh no, I know you said that, but I was just thinking. But the thing for me that makes it so crazy is you spend the same amount traveling within the UK, like the cost of travel and leaving the country is the same. That sounds so dumb, but it's actually true.
Having said that, I did, but these were expensive trips. I did have an amazing staycation in this gorgeous, like Georgian manor that's been like turned into a hotel, and that was incredible. It was amazing. And I didn't have Mango; she was in boarding, so it was kind of nice to have like some time off. I love you, but and then I went to Portugal, which was my first trip overseas since 2019.
Which sounds wrong because I feel like you've been traveling, but you've been going to like the coast
UK.
a lot.
Yeah, getting to know this fair isle that we call home.
I don't know about that, but
I've got nothing but good things to say about Portugal. Absolutely loved it.
I've never been, so I'd love to hear the whole shebang.
Yeah, we'll do that off air, and we should definitely go. It's amazing.
Because I'm ready. I really want to go to Greece though right now.
Also,
I know it's stupid expensive.
It's just also getting to colder season. So
I thought Greece stayed hotter for a bit longer. Greece, Cyprus, not much, but it's still much warmer than here.
Guys, let us know if anybody is from Greece or Cyprus. What's the weather like right now, and what will it be like in the next 3 to 6 weeks, please?
Yeah,
you could give us a breakdown of weather. I know we could Google it, but we want to talk to you, so let us know.
It's always Dubai for December.
Big thing.
The slave labor.
Sorry, this is about my life, but now I feel like I can't talk.
No. Say it.
Guys, I finally have a work surface, a kitchen work surface. I don't think that we do speak about this on this show.
Yeah.
But I think that it's now that I've rectified the situation, I think it's worth you guys knowing that I have not had a work surface for 3 years, I have been cooking on a hot plate with an oven. And because that is so fucking annoying, it just means that I have been ordering way too much on Deliveroo.
Yeah.
So this is big news.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and it looks great. I'm looking at it now. I love it. So I hope you're as excited for me and happy for this big milestone in my life. Yeah.
Woo.
I also had a birthday recently, and I'm reflecting back on. It's okay.
Not to make it about me.
And thinking back on, my achievements, and that I've sort of slowed down with my achievements as I've in the more recent years of my life, and a work surface probably is one of the biggest milestones.
That's funny because I would say your achievements are probably like bigger now, like way bigger.
Like what?
We'll talk about it off air.
Okay. Cool. Right. So anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's get on to P-Valley.
Sorry, I'm just going to keep making strange celebratory noises.
So if anybody remembers back to earlier this year, I can't remember. We did do an episode on P-Valley, but we ended up not really talking very much about it. And so we did a follow-up episode where we actually tried to do it some justice.
Yeah.
So now this is probably the only show that will have done 3 solid episodes on. Okay, not solid, but 3 episodes. And the crazy thing is that we're pretty sure that none of you watch P-Valley and probably don't even know what it is.
We would really like the P-Valley gang that have a name and I can't remember what it is. Sorry, guys. To listen to this episode. Like, I want to petition you guys to listen.
What are the P-Valley fans?
They have a name.
The Pinkers? The Pinks?
I can't remember.
We just need to find this out because I want to know.
You want to know right now? Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you were.
I'm looking Twitter.
Ruth is always multitasking. She is not 100% in this.
They still haven't renewed P-Valley for season 3. I swear to God. Okay, I need to. This show needs 500 seasons. I really like this show.
No, we need closure. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they're not so quick to renew it, because
it was renewed on the 13th of September.
Okay.
As was my other new favorite show, Rap Shit, which I'm loving. We'll have to get into it at some point. It's Issa Rae's new show.
Okay,
it's very different. Well, it's not in terms of like writing style and stuff, but it's different in theme to Insecure. But
okay,
I love the show. It's like perfect.
Where is it? Now TV. Is it HBO?
It's HBO, but I have to be honest. There are 2 shows at the moment that I've illegally streamed.
Ooh.
And guys, this is a big deal because I haven't illegally streamed in such a long time, to the point where I waited for Atlanta season 3 to come out on Disney before I watched it. Because I was like, I'm not illegally streaming anymore. But the thing is, you lot are taking the piss and I need
Give us what we want now.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys.
Right. Do we know
Pynk Posse? They're called
Pynk Posse. Okay.
I feel like we're the Pynk Posse. Well, probably not yet, but
the UK contingent.
The driest contingent of all of us. The worst P-Valley fans. The most
we have
boring
no rhythm. We
whoa. Speak for yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I can't do what they do. That's for sure.
Who can? Feels like a very select number of humans on the planet can do that.
True.
Shout out to everybody who can.
Maybe we should just do a quick recap on like
the season.
What P-Valley is. Not necessarily the season, just for just in general.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck the people who don't watch it. Sorry. P-Valley is a show about the Pynk, which is a historical landmark / strip club that resides in a small southern town in America.
Is it in Mississippi? It's called Chucalissa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, it concentrates on the depth of African American culture within the South, strip club culture, real life issues from domestic violence to religion to politics. But it's really all centered around like a pretty comical cast within a strip club.
Mm-hmm.
So it's centered around sex works, and the Pynk is run by Uncle Clifford. And I feel like the club is 3 generations old.
Yeah, correct. Because it was Grandma Ernestine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm not sure if there was also a generation before Grandma Ernestine.
No, because Uncle Clifford's mother passed, right?
Yeah.
So it went straight to him. But in terms of that, I think that's still 3 generations. It just never passed management. Uncle
Clifford's pronouns are her and she, which last season you said you kept saying her, but I genuinely didn't know that until this season, because it was more established. Like they talked about Uncle Clifford's like gender a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, it was kind of like done in like a matter of fact way, not like a long-winded why. It wasn't like an infomercial. It was kind of like, this is who I am, by the way.
And that's between Lil Murder and
Uncle
the guy
Clifford.
that had come. Wait. Wasn't there also a...
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
There was. But it was like fully established by Uncle Clifford, I feel like. But what was I going to say? I'm sorry, my brain. Oh, Little Murder and Uncle Clifford's love story is, guys, first of all, you know I'm dramatic, so leave me alone, is probably like one of my favorite love stories of all time. Honestly. Including books, which, you know. Yeah. And I feel like, I know this is so sad to admit, but that is the first sex scene I've ever cried through.
It was very tender and beautiful.
Yeah. Because sex scenes on TV either get me hot under the collar or I'm just like, get this out of here. But this one, I was like genuinely emotional. It was like quite beautiful. But yeah, should we run through our themes, beginning with why we think season 2 of P-Valley does fall into the fantasy category?
Yes, let's do that. Cool. Well, I mean, I guess, are we talking about broadly or zoning in specifically?
Do you think?
Specifically, we have one episode that centers around, and we're fast forwarding a bit. What's the character called? What's she called? Keyshawn.
Yeah,
Keyshawn. So she is one of the dancers who has kind of made it big, semi-big.
Catapulted to fame.
Because she is a part of Little Murder's act, his performance, his entourage, his
sorry to be annoying, but just to take a step back. So in season 1, Little Murder was like hanging out around the club. He was a rapper who was trying to make it. By the beginning of season 2, like he's like known, I would say regionally, but he's getting international play as well. Like he's on the come up, but he's
international or national.
National. Did I say international?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Season 3.
I'm thinking of outside of because America's
which might as well be international, to be honest.
Because America's so big. I feel like if you're making it outside your state, it's like another
big deal.
Country.
Yeah. I think that's a fair statement.
It is real, though. It's not true. But so he's like quite established. And then Keyshawn's got like a large following on Instagram. She's branching into other things and she's kind of showing like the I don't want to say stripper to entrepreneur pipeline, but it is the thing that dancers who begin in the club, and you know, you have to work through that stigma of people being like, oh, you're just a stripper, but actually it's a very like a difficult profession, and it can lead to very big things as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, back to you.
So we've got these two who have their own thing going on in the real world, but this is the first time where we kind of get more of an understanding into Keyshawn's background, into her like adolescence. Adolescence, and her family life, and it's told beautifully through the lens of Cinderella. It is a modern Cinderella telling. So that as soon as this episode started and it immediately had that Once Upon a Time vibes, we were all in, because this was a break in.
Great episode.
And it's kind of, like, did they do it in season 1? Where you'll have an episode that is just kind of related, but not really related to the main kind of like current storylines.
But not as
not to this extent. Yeah,
no, this was a completely isolated episode, which I always love in a series, because it's like a film in the middle of a series.
Yes, exactly. But it did give us some much needed intel on what Keyshawn's life was like. It, gave us that character development, which then, given what happens in the episodes that follow, is really important.
Yeah, it's because Keyshawn, aka Mississippi, from season 1, you already know she's in an abusive marriage, but this episode kind of like you're saying, it is told through a Cinderella lens, but it just uses lots of different fairy tales to kind of show how she was like kind of like an innocent young girl who, through a misfortunate chain of events, has become completely isolated and trapped in this abusive marriage. And at the end of season 1, you're kind of like, why does she stay with this guy? Because, in the real world, we know that people stay with their abusers to stay alive, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an opportunity for her abuser to kind of die. So you're kind of like, I'm not saying that's good, that people are dying, but if anyone was going to get it.
She had a way out.
Yeah.
In season 1.
And we all hate her husband. So it's like you're kind of ruining. I know it's messed up to say, but when you're watching shows and death is around, especially in fantasy shows, you do want people to die.
They make it that way,
Yeah, I can't. I honestly, I want that man gone. I want him gone.
Listeners,
Derek.
what you've got to understand is, and if you did listen to that episode, or do go back and listen to that episode that we did on season 1, the person who was going to essentially save her and have that white knight moment was incredible. Has he probably done some super shady, unspeakable things?
Who hasn't?
But he was, and also acting in self-defense, so he could have he had a legitimate reason to dispatch this individual, and she stopped him. She stopped Diamond,
and she saved her abuser, which meant she was staying with her abuser. But her and Diamond kind of have like a
will they, won't they, shall we say.
Can we pause for a sec?
Yes. Okay.
So in the episode, just to like give you the general vibe, this season, Keyshawn is basically like Cinderella, but also like Little Red Riding Hood, and then they build on that theme later when she has, the hood, because she's calling her Derek the Big Bad Wolf, and they keep that up. And if you have time, guys, go on Katori Hall, who is the writer of the show. Go on her Twitter. She breaks down the symbolism after every episode in depth, and it's so. Everything, how when you're reading a book and you think things are symbolic, but you don't know. It's like in P Valley, everything you think is symbolic is. From the shoes, have really
done the research,
to the colours. They use red a lot in this season, and it's just like the traditional meaning, like signals of like danger,
love.
Sometimes like bravery, like somebody who's like, what do you call it? Like the prey.
Courageous.
like when someone's being kind of like hunted, like someone
very
somebody
style,
very visible. Yeah. Also like blood, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They use a lot of like traditional like spiritual symbolism as well, water, and it leans into like basically Southern Black culture, but like the type that isn't generally represented, I think, on TV very well. It's really fucking good show, man. But yeah, sorry, that's why we were saying it's like a fantasy. But if nothing else, go and watch that episode because it deals with domestic violence and how Keyshawn, who's this girl from like this like pretty nice like home and like has a good life, is still left so vulnerable.
Yeah.
Through her
but
father.
Also, with forces within her own sphere that are meant to be protecting her and keeping her safe.
Yeah, her wicked stepmother. Her negligent father, who is becomes also apparent.
Creepy,
yeah, in the episode. Yeah. That it's subtly done, but it's obvious that he's abusing her stepsister.
Yeah. Which also gives you some more, not that, like gives another spin on that story of it, they're not wicked stepsisters. They're also, even
victims.
Though they're now being given so much because their mother has married this man and
he's very wealthy.
His biological daughter is kind of being displaced. That still comes at a cost. And the mother also doesn't give a shit.
And she's benefiting off her child being abused. She's like clearly turning a blind eye to it. And also they talk about going to colorism in that episode as well. Because Keyshawn's like a darker skinned Black woman, and how her like fairer, lighter skinned sisters are able to like thrive just from their skin tone. And that is like obviously a huge result from white supremacy. And it kind of like it just shows that, and then how this like white man then paying her so much attention and treating her with a kindness that
and also but treating a kindness against, I guess there are black boys in the school that are also like trying to get with her, and he's like defending her honor almost. So it's like bringing in this white savior kind of.
Yes, but it does, as an adult watching it, and I think that's you're supposed to, you're like a bit apprehensive because yes, you can see from a teenage girl perspective that he's like her hero, but the way he uses violence is like scary.
The red flags are there.
Yeah. And honestly, I can say looking back, like that is usually how it goes. Like they're very like, I'm not saying this is always the case, but obviously abusers, like a typical dynamic with an abuser is leans heavily into the patriarchy and seeing women as like either prizes or property. So it's like they're like territorial over the woman they're dating. And it's not necessarily, at first you may think, oh, it's because they're like your hero. But then I like that they did that because it shows that like no one can like save you. You have to save yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
But which is, I think, a good lesson, but it's negative because she's already a victim at that point where she needs to save herself.
Yeah. And then we're also, God, it really tackles a lot because it's an interracial couple. Prom night, he, I would say forces her to, well, can't remember actually. Do we think that it's not, or it's one of those quote unquote gray areas of consent where you don't necessarily really want to do something, but you're afraid of losing the person or disappointing the person, or maybe what the person will do if you don't. So she has sex with
oh my God, I didn't remember that. Derek. That's disgusting. That's how she gets pregnant.
I'm not misremembering it, am I?
No, probably not. I think I tend to black out stuff when it's too heavy.
So she gets pregnant, and then of course his family, who's wealthy and his father is also abusive, doesn't give a shit. So, and then her family, she literally goes to her family house in an absolute state because she's moved out with Derek, and he's one night I think gets like super physical, So she tries to escape, tries to go to her family home, and her stepmother essentially just tells her, like, this is on you. There's no help here.
Yeah, it's like the shame when you're from like a more prominent family, like the shame of having a child young. And then obviously there's the racial dynamic with them. So his family is like a racist, but it's just, I liked how they showed that subtly that his father was an abuser, but it wasn't clear, but his father would get physical with him. And then obviously we know later in that series, Derek starts to get very physical with his own children and actually causes them serious injury.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I suppose, more on the lines of an actual grim fairy tale where they are pretty fucking horrible. There isn't a happy ending, or at least not one yet.
But there's also like a magic in her story, which is nice, if that makes sense. Like, it's very dark. All of their stories have such darkness to them, but I like that it sets up like the Pynk and their work that they do is like even more of like a fantasy and an escape and why
haven.
Yeah, and then they're like, they are magic because they're able to just create this like other world, even though they're the ones out of every character, it's the women who are the dancers who have like the heaviest stories and Uncle Clifford, because it's just like these people are having to navigate like this like patriarchal, like cutthroat, uber religious world like the rest of us.
And I think they carry on that fairy tale theme with Hayley / August / what's her other alter ego? Oh, I can't. Something
Hayley
Savage. No, she has another name when she's got the red hair. Something Savage. Can't remember what it is.
Is it not Hayley Savage?
No, Hayley's her actual name. Then Autumn Night is her stage name. And then when she goes to be the bad bitch to play all the politicians in the corporation, she's like Something Savage.
I can't remember.
She's kind of the fairy godmother, though.
Yes.
For Keyshawn and her family, because she has lived through that in her own way. Yeah.
And they use, I don't know, she wears a lot of like white herself. Even at I don't know if you remember the final scene before she disappears. Spoiler alert. She's wearing like all white then. So she's kind of like, I like that the characters are like the same way you get in fantasy. They're like good and evil. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A few of them are actually genuinely good. I think Mercedes and Uncle Clifford are like more like pure.
Like there's not really I don't think, they don't do quote unquote evil things. And I'm using, that's hyperbole, I know, but in the realms of like good and evil, they don't do bad things for the greater good, if that makes sense. Also she's doing bad things, and
for personal, now you said that, I think Uncle Clifford does do shady things as well.
I think he can do spiteful things. But I feel like, you're right. Mercedes doesn't. She's a good one.
Obviously,
she could be a bit coarse or like have an edge because she's, in actual physical pain.
She doesn't really. I feel like Mercedes obviously has her daughter who she abandoned, but it's so well explained that it's just like she doesn't really have much of a choice. Okay, we've got a list of themes that we will quickly run through in the season and just talk about. So we will start with coronavirus. Shit,
because I get they could have theoretically just ignored it, but and it's not just corona either. They tackled like kind of the major things that were happening in 2020, they didn't just ignore them. It was like, right, well, we are doing a show that is still, I guess, rooted in reality. So we'll tackle them head on. And I haven't seen many other shows where I think that that's been done in the same way and well.
This is the only show I think has done it well that I've seen so far. Well,
side note, I do think that Superstore handled coronavirus well. But that's it.
That's facts.
Yeah. Because that really got under like shit, all the range of emotions as time went on. Jesus.
Only reason like these two shows could handle it well is because they're already writing from a perspective of a person who you wouldn't normally hear from, who these things would affect the most, like the person who works in your local giant supermarket, or like small town Southern Americans who were living, especially Black Americans who were so affected by not only the COVID, but the police violence around that time. And then you get to see that, but from characters that you wouldn't normally hear from, if that makes sense. Even if you're watching an all-black show, you're not really going to get like a Little Murder talking to an Uncle Clifford. It's just different. I loved it. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I love this show.
But yeah, I thought the way that COVID was managed was great. It just showed, there's so many restrictions, and sometimes I think I forget, because we all block it out of our mind, how mad and upside down that time was, and things just being shut down. But like, how can people find a way to work within the rules and the regulations to still actually have a business and make a livelihood? And they got they found a good way around it. The car wash. The sexy car wash.
I thought
also people wearing masks, like showing the management, I guess, wearing masks. That's not something that
I also feel like it kind of showed the like lack of regulation, because the woman who's like a literal COVID officer or whatever is in the strip club with them all, and especially in Southern America where they just kept relaxing the rules, and the death toll was getting higher and higher.
And why?
And in England, by the
way. She's in the club. She's just gone through a divorce, so she wants to spend her cash, and
that was
spend
the end
it
of
she
last
will.
Season, right? Yeah.
What, that she got the divorce?
Yeah, and she.
No, that was this season, beginning of this season, because then she shut it down.
I remember her shutting it down.
Yeah, but why did she shut it down? I can't remember. Did somebody?
I can't remember. Sneezed on her.
I don't know if somebody sneezed on her, or
it was one of the dancers, like coughed in her face or something.
Yeah.
That dancer was a super spreader, by the way.
She 100% was. But yeah, over something like that, then it gets shut down. Obviously, that's not something like that. That's how things spread. But it's kind of like, you were in there already.
You didn't mind before.
Yeah.
You're like, not. It's kind of like, we would all have these nice things if some people would just stay at home. But it's also like, but shouldn't we all be at home?
Yeah. But that was also, there was a time where everything was shut down, and that's when they had to do the car wash to try and like work around the rules. And then, you're right, it showed how things just kept getting relaxed.
Yeah.
And then that culminated in Ernestine, Clifford's grandmother, getting COVID.
Yeah.
Which was just heartbreaking.
It was. That was also probably arguably the best performance, I think. Oh, it's hard because Little Murder really pulled out this season. I'm sorry.
He did. And I don't know whether it's because, I guess a lot of this is because they couldn't have a lot of the scenes in the club, dancing, whatever, but there was a lot more development of storylines and scenes and plot taking place outside of the club and the realms of the women dancing. You know, it wasn't just about them being on stage dancing.
Yeah.
Like, which, and I think that season 1 is like visually like incredible because of that. But I would say that more than 50% of the show is season 1 is them dancing. You think?
Maybe if not them dancing, the theatrics of the club and the fantasy of the club.
Yeah, and then and you know they're in the background or in the changing room and in their outfits, their dancing outfits. Whereas this season, it was, I would say, was like maybe 20%, 25%.
And once again, shows you what it was like for us, because it was like 2020, people forget, was a real like pulling back, where even though we all knew how we felt about things, we all knew where we stood about things, I feel like it was quite raw to like experience yourself with outside of who you are at work and all these things. Like there's a lot more like vulnerability there.
Sorry, not us finally working through our trauma of COVID because of P-Valley.
Honestly, thank you, P-Valley. Especially, I thought the so random, but do you remember when Little Murder's on tour and Keyshawn has a very shady, dodgy, coked up manager who is just a horrible, horrible guy. That conversation, but I can't remember his name, I'll try and get it. They when it was like talking about like the civil unrest that was happening.
He was called Roman, I believe.
He was not called Roman. He was called Roman.
Oh my God, was he? Was he not?
Who the hell is Roman?
Did I make that up?
Probably not.
It's such a specific name to have made up. Like, why would I?
Who is that though?
Maybe I just made him up. Anyway, carry on what you were saying. I'll look up this.
Just them talking about like kind of like the Black Lives Matter movement without framing it that way as well. Just talking about, I like that they just framed it as like ongoing experiences of Black people in America, especially in the South, because the history is so much like deeper and darker. It's like it's not hard to get straight back to the root of slavery. And
pardon me, it's Rome.
Okay, so the fact that that's not that far off and that sounds great. Also, Roman. Right? Who the hell is Rome?
And his real name is Blue Kimball. I mean, wow.
No. Oh, Rome. He's the coked up guy.
Yes, correct.
I can't. Sorry, if he wasn't such a horrible person, he's kind of hot. But then again, we've discussed this. Everyone in P-Valley is disgustingly beautiful. Oh, Pico is who I'm talking about. So Pico gets out of prison this season and introduces us to a whole new storyline, which I enjoyed, which is like Uncle Clifford falling in love in jail and two men who are like...
Wait, no. Little Murder falling in love in jail.
Who did I say?
Uncle Clifford.
Oh, absolutely not. Can you imagine Uncle Clifford in jail? Absolutely not. No way. Yeah. Two men that you would like, not two men that you'd never expect, but you know how like kind of it's like Moonlight, Brokeback Mountain, these films kind of touch on like, I don't want to say people that people don't expect to be gay because that's stupid, but kind of like
it's playing with the idea of what is masculinity and what is what does it mean to be masculine, but what does that in terms of your like sexual orientation, gender expression, where I
feel like with those characters it kind of shows more like what does it mean to be a gay man, and it kind of is more like your sexuality is like another layer to you for sure, and we all already know this, but it doesn't dictate anything else about you. Like you can be anyone in the world. Your sexual expression or sexuality will be whatever it is.
And it shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But I liked that in this show because sometimes I feel like you need an escape where you don't have to constantly deal with like the negative. Like you don't want to constantly deal with homophobia. You don't want to constantly deal with racism. I get it. But I do love when someone is able to write so earnestly about somebody who is living in one of the most oppressed identities, but still show like the like magic in it. So you're not even really thinking about that. Like Little Murder is so weirdly complex. Like, and
he has levels. That man has levels.
He does, and I like that.
Tenderness, compassion, to be able to hold space for people, which you never would have thought from season 1 that he was somebody that could come in and actually hold somebody. And
yeah, he has his moments in season 1 though, where you can see like he disappoints me in season 1, but he definitely shows signs straight away that there's something
emotional
about
depth.
Yeah. And I like that because like in real life, when you meet people who are from certain like, because I know I always bang on about it, but like this idea that you're a gangster, quote unquote, or a thug is like, it's for some people, and I know that people who have not lived that life but grew up in the same areas find that kind of irritating. Like, but it's true that it's not necessary. It's environment, isn't it? It's not who you are, but it is a huge part of your story.
Yeah.
And like with Diamond, with being an ex-soldier who's got PTSD, and then parallel that with all the different members that they show of these I can't remember what the 2 main gangs are. One wears red, one wears blue. Very classic division. But how they have like war scars kind of, and like how with Little Murder it's like he's been through like the prison industrial complex. What's his name again? Pico. How they've touched on it as well in shows like How to Get Away with Murder, but there are things that happen in prison that are literally psychological torture. And when you've been tortured, it like can rewire your brain. Like you're not the same person. Like Pico
it's an indelible mark on you.
Yeah, Pico is a loose fucking cannon now, and it goes on to show the trauma he had before, but then it also shows how Pico is a loose cannon. He's had all this trauma. You have so much empathy for him, but his anger, when it spills over, then affects Keyshawn, who is also a victim. Does that make sense? So it's like, who's bearing the real brunt of his trauma? It's this Black woman who's literally done nothing to him.
Yeah.
It is a lot. It's so good. And honestly, the imagery this season is so fucking strong. When Pico kills himself, guys. Sorry, it's not funny. I'm laughing because it's just like, I don't know how to like, it's just I'm just all over the place. But
it's a real moment. Obviously, in that situation when he's in the car with Little Murder, there's one of 2 ways that could go. You do not know up until the moment you hear, or I certainly didn't, up until the moment you hear a gunshot. I didn't know which way it was going.
I didn't think it. I thought he was going to talk him down.
And then they move away from the car. You have the shot of the car outside, and then you hear the gunshot,
just to correct myself, dies by suicide. That's like getting hard for me to rewire to say, but yeah. And that's another episode where they really delve into why he is the way he is, because he talks about how his original, because in prison he's in isolation by himself, and as research has shown, if you're locked up in isolation, they still do it in prisons, or especially in America. If you're locked up in isolation, it is a form of torture where you do, and I don't mean it in like trying to use derogatory language, you do quite literally go mad,
right?
Because that humans can't be like that. You can't. It's like imagine if you put an animal, like a dog, in a box and left them. By the time you came back like 2 weeks later,
Yeah, they would be
never going to be the same.
irreparable damage.
Yeah. And more so
and they're either going to go reclusive or they're going to be like rabid.
Yeah, and that's more,
not by rabies, but just yeah.
And there's so many people right now who are being left for days and days and weeks in isolation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but then he talks about how that his first prison was in his mother's house.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like that new layer of trauma kind of explains why he feels like he can't live anymore, because it's like he just doesn't want to do it. That's what you really feel like.
Quite simply just trigger stacked to the point where he's like, I will pull a trigger. I'm not just going to snap at somebody. I'm not just going to lose it. The next step here is this.
Yeah.
Just ending it. I can't live in this pain anymore.
Yeah. And then his pain is also like, because obviously when you watch a lot of TV shows, it can kind of depict this idea of like a brutish gangster who has no feelings. But here we see this, and it's not like I loved Pico. I thought, I mean, like he wasn't, I'm not saying he's like this amazing, perfect person. It's not true at all. But you do see someone who is like, I don't know, it's like that character is usually exploited for entertainment. And here it's like, no, but this is what it could really be like, laid bare. Yeah. And then now Little Murder has to live with that. That's like his first love dying in front of him. That's like a lot.
Yeah.
And again, the blood, there's a lot of blood this season.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to do too much, but you could also say, the blood, like, obviously they wear red in their gang anyway, but it's like his blood kind of like, in a way, frees Little Murder, because that leads to him like looking at himself and accepting himself.
Takes him back to Clifford.
Yeah.
Woo.
This show.
Okay.
You guys will watch it and be like, I don't know what show you guys are watching. I just saw drama. Yeah, it's a great show.
It is fantastic. What else?
I just wanted to touch on the hoodoo, which I thought was cool. Again, someone you wouldn't expect. Diamond. We're really concentrating on the male characters, which is not at all what we did last time.
But that's also because this season, the male characters have also had their own.
They've evolved,
storylines. They've evolved. There is more to say. Not more to say than the female characters, just more to say than last season.
100%.
And I do, they have concentrated, I think, on those storylines. All the storylines that you had in season 1 have I think they've taken a bit more of a backseat. Like Hayley, Autumn.
Yeah. Who becomes
Miss
a really
Savage.
confusing character to me.
Yeah.
Because she has... It's like, obviously, I like that Uncle Clifford like reads her in the fact that she's like, you're just looking for a family and someone to love you deep down, but you'll never have that because you're a cunt. But she's so driven by self. Like she's kind of like drunk on power in a way, but like every good villain, you can't help but see where she's coming from.
Yeah, I think that storyline just didn't grip me as much, and I did find it confusing. Not just in like character confusing, also in just like where are we going with this? I don't know. I feel like they didn't, and this is like, I guess this is kind of rude to say, and I have no right to say it, but here we go.
You can critique a show, for goodness sake.
For me, it felt like that storyline was lacking a bit when compared to everything else that was going on.
Yeah, it's like, for me, I got it, but because there just wasn't enough time. I needed more on. I know she was like the main focal point in season 1. I still needed more on what happened that night with her daughter. Is that crazy to say?
Yeah, like what happened? Why is she dead? Are you dealing with some guilt there that beyond just that she's dead. Like, did you? Yeah,
she kind of, by staying with that guy, basically she like kind of blames herself for her daughter's death. But she's used as a secondary character to lead, like as a light for Keyshawn to find the way. She's used as that kind of like a light, but in like a devilish kind of way for what's his name? I have to get his name.
Who?
Obama.
What? Mayor
Andre Watkins. To like find himself and find his voice. And she's kind of used as a villain for
Mercedes and Uncle Clifford,
but she doesn't get enough. Slightly, I don't know. I guess the twist is that she is a villain and she's self-serving, and it kind of goes to show that when you help, it doesn't matter if you think you're helping someone. Like, people will look after themselves in that world, especially. But yeah, I agree. At some points, I was confused by her character for sure. Still appreciated the performance.
Yeah, agree. And just the whole like election thing as well. Just I think the thing is there's so much going on in the show
I would rather
that I find it hard to keep track of the different storylines and I guess it's like, I don't know, there's only so much space in my I like, can we focus on a few of these ones because they're super interesting and there's a lot going on, but maybe they're trying to set up for the next season.
And you still need the juice to keep it, like the shock moments. Like, you still need to know, like, Andre's father is on death row. I guess, setting him up to.
But I think that's the thing. There's so much in each storyline has their own like moment that it just like this could have taken a bit more of a backseat for me, or something else would have had to go to so that we could actually develop that plot a bit more, which would have been a shame because I wouldn't have wanted to lose
I think they picked
anything
correctly.
else.
I think they picked correctly for sure. Because for me, I feel like Uncle Clifford's family and Little Murder's entire life and Keyshawn's and Mercedes' lives were enough for me.
Yeah. Because you had the smaller stories on the side of like the new women coming in, the new dancers coming in, and starting to see where could those things go. But like for me, those were enough, like the good sort of small plot lines that you didn't need to pay much attention to.
Like, what a roulette is.
Ooh.
Now, I keep saying that was but that. Okay, the actress who plays Roulette, where is she? Because she's in a few shows. She's in Snowfall. And the character she plays in Snowfall, again, is super layered. Gail Bean is her name. She was in Insecure. I don't know if you remember. She was in the episode of Insecure where Molly was like in the white law firm. And she came in as the young lawyer who Molly was like trying to be like, hey, you can't be too black here. And she was like, weird of you to say as a black woman, but they love me. Like she was in an she was in an episode of Atlanta where they took edibles and she was just like, she basically had like not an awakening, but like, you know, when someone's just having like a series of realizations and like coming to peace with a few. But especially in Snowfall, oh my God, she's probably the best performance in Snowfall. I'm just like, this woman is such a good actress. Like the levels to like the difference between the characters she's got to play as well is amazing. You don't always see that with young black actresses, like actually have the opportunity to play that many
flex and show range.
Roulette for me. When Roulette was introduced, I was like, oh, they're just coming with the filler. But that episode, that scene where she had that man on his knees. And I love, the thing is that's good about Roulette. Roulette isn't like pure. Roulette is also a villain.
Oh, through and through. But she knows it.
But
and
you
she,
root
yeah,
for Roulette.
Yeah.
And you 100%, she's like almost like a feminist icon without even trying.
Because she's a villain by circumstance. A lot of that, I think, is. It's just that's the role that the world wants her to play. That's how the world treats her. So she's like, well, fine.
And you know what was such a good touch when, I'm sorry to call this a touch, I know it's like her life story, and I'm saying that because I know it could actually be someone's, it's not far-fetched to think that's someone's real life story. But when they were talking about her brother who she lost to police violence, it's like, I feel like little things like that, like little believable, slowly introduced facts about people. So you get this complete complex picture of someone who isn't just a perpetrator, is mostly a victim. It just like perfect.
And also the complete subtle context of the world that we live in without having to go full ham. Like, I went to a BLM protest and my brother got killed. So, I mean, I don't mean that flippantly, but they're not going like so.
Because at the core of, and I feel like this was something that was so like, I feel like a lot of Black people, Black Americans especially, were pushing back with during that time was like the people that it's not just like the innocent. And when I say innocent, there's no such thing as like, I know there's like legally such thing, but the word innocent is even like politicized. It's not just this like picture perfect, like lawyer or politician. It's not just you don't have to be any type of Black person to deserve like to be respected. And it's the people that as a society you might look at and turn your nose up. They're the people who are the victims of the society that not only that you've created, but you benefit from. And it's like, without saying all of that, it's just like, ta-da. Yeah. But Roulette was lit.
Without having to present things also in like a righteous way of
because like,
more like
Little Murder did not need to shoot that man down in the streets. Do you know what I mean? It's not like all like, oh, he's such a good guy. It's like he got his name for a reason. Okay.
Yeah, great show. Just a good solid show. It's a great season.
I was just going to say about the hoodoo shit with
of course,
Diamond being a root worker and like a healer and healing Mercedes and saying that her shoulder is like psychological because it's the pressure. What is it? 8 pounds of pressure. Which is also a song by Little Murder. Go stream it now. Megan Thee Stallion was in this
yes
season. It's just as Tina Snow, and her Tina Snow album is a personal soundtrack of mine.
Is Tina Snow her stage name?
An alter ego.
An alter, okay.
Yeah, but there's an album where she's basically, she calls it a mixtape, but it's an album. But it's good. That's the one where she says, oh, I can't remember. The only other things are love, politics, and gang violence, which I feel like we covered.
We've touched on all of those things within.
What the fuck happened to Diamond? We'll find out soon. I did think that him and Big Bone's relationship was touching on the melodramatic side a bit in a way I didn't like, but I also enjoyed it.
Especially because it's her that's like now ordered this hit on him.
Yeah, because she knows. Okay, so Diamond murdered Hailey's ex,
right?
Who is the leader of a criminal organization who Big Bone works on, which isn't where my mind immediately went.
Yeah, I didn't know that that wasn't explained to me, or maybe I just didn't pick up on it. I just thought, wow, she is also in a gang and she's just pissed off.
Yeah,
he
was pissed off, but
no, true, but it's not. Yeah, you're right. It's a bit much for it just to be a woman scorned reaction. That there has to be something
get in the
fucking
yeah. She saw somebody kiss him and she was like, you know what, get in the boot.
Fuck this shit. Yeah.
you are getting kidnapped.
This is the last time this happens to me.
How many times do you have to get pushed before you tell a man to get in a boot and put a gun in his mouth? Honestly, it has not reached that stage. But yeah, but if Keyshawn is, oh, she's not dead. I was thinking something was going to happen. I'm glad she's not dead. She's had her children taken away from her.
Oh, fuck yeah!
And left with a man who will abuse them.
Yeah. So that brings us not neatly, messily to the end of season 2. We now know that there is going to be a season 3, thank God, because there are some big cliffhangers.
Yeah.
And I need answers.
I just want to see what, I know it's the only thing I care about. Like, I don't care what happens to the cliffhangers. I just want to see where Uncle Clifford's relationship with Little Murder goes now they are
true.
Yeah.
Yes, because Little Murder makes it public by kissing Uncle Clifford in open at a party was it for Grandma Ernestine?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a really gorgeous moment.
Who has a toy boy, which I just find so random. Is Uncle Clifford now a drug dealer?
Through
Big
the
L.
other guy, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much going on, you're right. And then we didn't even talk about
Mercedes.
No shade. Oh, we didn't talk about Mercedes. Oh my God. And
the photographer.
Coach's wife. I love that the Mercedes experience becoming a term in like just said, and you know what it means, is so funny.
Yeah. And then it also becomes just art. Or it's let's say it always was art. It's just now been realized in a tangible, pictorial, photographic sense.
Which is true, I think, of pole and how, especially Black women's influence on pole. I feel like it at first is like anything to do with like working class Black American women is always like stigmatized, Black women in general. But like now it is like at some point it's like, no, it really is art. And it's just like, oh my God. Oh my God. Sorry. I'm tired. But yeah. And her relationship with her daughter. And I read that Katori Hall obviously wrote that episode before Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Yeah.
So then that made Mercedes and her daughter walking through the protesters who just do that anyway, by the way, in America.
And here.
I've not seen it here.
Yeah. I haven't seen it here, but I believe it does happen. Yeah, there are pro-life people that will, maybe it's not quite as like aggressive protesting as maybe in the States, but they'll set up their little lemonade stand.
Which is the reason I hate the film Juno. I hated that Juno got to that point and the protester outside was like, did you know that your baby has fingernails or whatever she said? And then she decided to keep her baby. I was just like, that is such bad. This cannot be the basis of a film that's supposed to be good. Like that just literally, no. Obviously, keep the baby if you want the baby. That's not the point, but you shouldn't be guilted and pressured and shamed into having a child. Yeah. That's insane, especially not as a teenager. And I'm glad Mercedes was there as like the fearless like woman that she is to walk her daughter through and lead her down a better road. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep. That was a very sweet
But Mercedes' mom can suck a dick.
moment.
That woman is insane. Very
She
funny.
can. Exactly. And that's the thing what I'm talking about with that storyline of the whole election. That's like a whole fucking thing. I just didn't
can't even get
like
into
really
it.
care for it. And I don't know what to say about it because I feel like there was just so much madness going on. So I was like, whenever it came on, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want to
I'll let you have it.
With any, I believe you. Yeah.
Do you think?
Whatever's going on screen here, sure.
Yeah.
But don't let that put you off, guys. It's an incredible show. And I think that this season is, for me, it was better than season 1.
Yes.
But we just got so much more.
It's like season 1 is captivating, but season 2 tends to like never be as like captivating, but you just by then you love the show. But I genuinely
you're invested
feel like
in the characters, yeah.
But this is different. They outed themselves
completely, yeah.
And Katori Hall did it pregnant during COVID, so this is my hat.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the music.
Thank you.
Singing.
Singing different songs, but nevertheless,
hey, that's how grateful we are.
The sentiment is the same.
We are saying thank you. Sorry. Yes.
On that rather pitchy note, from me.
Not you sounded like my last album review. Okay. They were right.
It's an off-key album.
No, it literally is. It's jazz.
It's art, sir. Look it up.
Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about that Mercedes experience, would you? And you never will.
Okay. So, like I said, on that note, we've hopefully done it justice.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
I've been down to talk about it, so I enjoy talking about it.
Let us know if you have watched it. What did you think? Let us know if you haven't watched it, but now are going to watch it. And let us know if there's a particular fantasy or magical show, film that you would like us to talk about, because chances are it's already on our roster. But our schedule is not set in stone. We all know this. Things could move and change. If
this season is. Sorry.
If we have a good enough, compelling show.
Something crazy happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think we've scheduled in the compelling shows, so I'm excited.
Oh yeah, guys, don't worry. We're going to be talking about the big things that have come out: Rings of Power, your House of the Dragon.
It's a Horse of Dragon.
The Horse of the Dragon. Yeah, it's a show about a dragon that has a horse. It's an unlikely coupling.
When are the centaurs going to come back? Come on.
The centaurs in what?
In any form, like they need their own show. Sure.
Well,
I can't speak today.
There is a cartoon on Netflix, literally called Centaur World.
No, I want humans.
Oh, you want?
I want live action. I want that Hercules show back. You know the one.
Hercules.
The one that was on Channel 5.
Yeah, the really bad one. Yeah,
that was
you had your Xena, the Warrior Princess, and then you had your Hercules.
Those were the days.
Yeah. We'll do an episode on that. No, it's already decided. Guys,
if we do go down that road, we have to do that. We have to do Smallville. We have to. Just like a Sunday TV watching.
Yeah, random. You've turned on Channel 4. It's circa 2002. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no on-demand streaming.
Charmed.
I watched that back not recently, like maybe 5 years ago.
I didn't watch the whole thing to begin with.
I didn't, because there was no streaming, so you just had to catch it when it was on, and it was exactly the kind of show that my dad probably would have been weird about us watching, despite the fact that he let us actively made us watch all sorts of terrifying stuff. But when it comes to witches,
it's true.
No, that's too satanic. Anyway. But it's exactly the kind of show that I wanted to watch when I was younger, so I of course had to rewatch it as an adult. and
reclaim your
a
childhood.
little girl gets her dream.
Speaking of which, Enchanted 2 is coming out in cinemas, and so is The Little Mermaid. So,
Can't wait for them both.
I know. Good night. Goodbye. Yeah. Peace be upon you, and so with you. Yes, I went to an Anglican church recently. What?
Until next week.
I'll tell you about that as soon as we hang up. Guys, I lied in church and it backfired. Anyway,
oh my God. This is exactly the type of thing where people tell me that you will say something so out there and then be like, I'll tell you off air. And it frustrates people.
I lied to an Anglican priest at the altar because I wanted to take communion, and he put it in my hand and he took it back out because I didn't know. I was like, I didn't know what to do with it.
So he knew you were lying. He was like, okay, well, no blood of Christ for you. Sorry, body of Christ for you. I could never do that. I've not been confirmed, and I would never do that. I'm not judging you.
Yes, you are.
I'm applauding you. No, I'm applauding you because what fucking difference does it make? You know what I mean? Why do you need to be confirmed to have the body and the blood of Christ?
It means a lot.
In my heart, I would not be able to take that.
The thing is, because you've grown up in that thing, like vibe culture, you get it. But for me,
right, okay,
always taken communion in church.
Honest mistake.
Always. No, he was like, I know what a confirmation is. He was like, have you been confirmed? I was like, yeah. But you know, I'm a bad liar. And he was like, have you been confirmed? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, have you been confirmed? And I was like, I was baptized. What's the difference? He was like, what kind of church do you go to? I can never remember
all
what it's
of this
called.
happened. This is a long conversation to happen and the music's quite low. Everyone's
it's loud. It's loud.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was gonna because in the kind of churches that I went to, this would have been conducted at a whisper. This whole conversation.
Oh, I don't know. It felt
with
like
people kneeling next to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't give a heck. Guys, you don't understand. I wanted it. I wanted the experience of taking communion in an Anglican church. I know that sounds weird to some of you, especially those of you who are deeply religious, but I just wanted that. I wanted that experience. I wanted to take communion.
It feels weird to me because you have already taken communion.
So the church I grew up in, there are no steps. You're allowed to take communion. Anyone.
Yeah, which is what I mean. That's why it feels strange to me that you wouldn't just be. It feels natural to me that you would just be like,
why can't I take communion?
Exactly.
I've literally been in church my entire life. If you don't give me that goddamn wafer,
I'm hungry.
I've had that wafer before, sir.
Exactly. That's why I don't see why it doesn't. I don't think that's a lie for me, just because you didn't have the whole shebang.
No, but afterwards I realised I lied unnecessarily. I could have just said, I've never been confirmed. I've grown up in church. I've always taken communion. I want to take communion today. It means a lot to me. I didn't need to lie. Then it started raining so heavily. I was like, I get it.
Pathetic fallacy. Okay, God. I'm sorry.
Leave me alone.
Back. But give me the wine. I want the blood.
After that, I was like, I need to leave immediately. But obviously, church isn't finished.
You can't talk out.
I'll talk to you afterwards. Honestly, I felt like
that's so dramatic.
No, not in like that way. Like in a kind of like humorous way. He was like, I'll explain afterwards. I think he wanted to laugh. It was like the guy next to me was getting so annoyed because I put my hands out wrong and they were just staring at me and he just like fixed my hands. I was like,
what do you do?
You can't go like this. You go like this.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine.
I was like, give me your way. Anyway, guys, see, these off-air stories are not that funny. I feel deeply ashamed. That's all.
Sorry to make you wear that out, but now you know, so don't worry about whenever we'll say something off air. It's really not that salacious.
And I'll probably get confirmed because I will not go through that again.
I also find it weird though that because I've not been to a church service in many, many years, but now that I do go, I don't think people the vicar hasn't asked me if I've been confirmed.
Because the way you act is of like somebody who's grown. You've got to understand like
not, but you have to understand that when I go for confirmation, I do not put my hands up because I've not been confirmed. So I would sit to take the blessing, and then they're trying to give me the bread, and it's like, no, just give me the blessing because I haven't been confirmed. Why are you assuming that I've been confirmed? I feel like if you're a certain age, they just assume that you've been confirmed. So that's why it's weird to me that
I also had red lipstick on.
And you were doing the offering wrong. Please, sir, can I have some more?
Not Oliver Twist. Jesus Christ. I've suffered in this life. Anyway, it made me realise that I've complained about the church I grew up in my whole life. I was like, you know what? My church is lit. There's none of this.
It sounds
Everyone
great.
Is welcome. Even
totally
the
different
Scarlet
to my
Woman.
church experience. Especially the Scarlet Woman.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. If the scriptures are to be believed. Some of them anyway.
Or ever followed, but yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's more.
Guys,
more
we're not doing that this season. This is a fantasy season.
This is not the religious season.
I'm not dealing with real life.
No.
Only religious symbolism. Okay.
And we'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Wait. Rewind the tape.